Hey y'all, thank you so much for tuning into my channel today. So let's talk about reflections of 2022. Spring is here now. This is when I feel like it is the true new year to actually reflect and plan for the rest of the year. You know, the flowers are blooming, things is growing. That's the time to start new stuff and plant new seeds, right? So I want to reflect on how my 2022 went, my lessons, things I've learned, and tips for anybody who's dealing with any of those things that I dealt with in 2022. And let's also talk about what we can expect for me that I'm manifesting for my 2023. Okay, stay tuned. All right, so 2022, to say the least, you guys, was one of the worst years of my life, you know, and let's talk about it. So in 2022, I want to say there were 3 categories in my life that were most affected. That would be my relationships, finances, or ability to generate revenue, and enjoyment. Enjoyment. All right, so let's talk about relationships. In regards to my relationships, I would say my relationships were in shambles. This includes friendships and things of that. I had already cut off most of my friends, just growing apart and things like that. So it's like, okay, I have a smaller circle than I'm used to, and I'm still getting used to having that small circle. So I have this small circle, okay, no problem. But then I had a relationship that I thought was, going progressive, going forward, that abruptly ended out of nowhere. And when I say it was like out of nowhere, it actually was like out of nowhere. Like, this wasn't some play. Like, I really do take relationships and friendships serious. So I really thought this was something that was going to be substantial, like lead to, future marriage plans, which we were talking about and discussing and on the same page with, and actually planning things, like, not just talking about it, but like pulling up websites and picking out this and stuff like that. Not some, okay, just pick out a ring thing. Like, it felt more real. And I've been engaged before, so I'm like, give me that. So the relationship ended. Now, prior to the relationship ending, I would say about 2 months prior to it ending, I lost my job. So I got my final career job that I have been going to school for. I went for ultrasound for vascular tech. So I finally got my perfect career job that I always wanted, and then out of nowhere, again, I was fired. So imagine being fired for the first time in your life at this big age that I am. Y'all know I'm grown. At this big age I am, I've never been fired in my life. So I finally get what I think is the job of my dreams. I get fired from that job of my dreams. I'm thinking I'm with the partner, that I'm meant to be with, and we're going to plan our life. That person decides they no longer want to be with me. And I've never gotten broken up with, by the way, too. So it was a lot of ego death in 2022 for me, because affecting my ego, we all have masculine and feminine traits. My masculine was severely affected by my ability to generate revenue and bring in money for myself and my son. My feminine was wounded at the same time, losing a relationship. I'm very feminine in a relationship and things like that. So it was very abrupt, and like, it hurt, like I actually got my little heart broken a little bit, but everything happens for a reason. So with all of those things being affected, I'm single, I'm jobless, unemployed, trying to find work, trying to figure things out by myself. My enjoyment, of course, was on the very low scale. There was no time for enjoyment. If I'm worried about my unemployment coming in and looking for a new job, and it's not the finding a job part that's hard, it's finding a job that's paying. Let me say that for the people in the back. It's about finding a job that's paying well. Okay, because of course I could go get a job at McDonald's, but if I was working at my career job that I went to school for, and to get fired, the salary has to, like, it's not matching. So those things all affected me in such a big way. And honestly, I do want to say they affected my mental health, because not only am I stressed out, my money is funny. I don't know, I've never been through this. I don't know anybody else who's ever been through this. And it's just like I'm trying to figure it out by myself. Not saying I didn't have help, but I have to navigate this situation financially and emotionally. Of course, I can get some financial help, but the emotions that I have to figure things out and do all this, and basically it just felt like me starting at ground zero. So 2022 was very much so a ground zero, death to the ego, tower card, like if you're into tarot, tower card vibes, like just crazy. So things that kept me going. So honestly, of course, with all those things going on in my life, I had to have something keep pushing me and motivating me to keep going, because honestly, it was really easy to, like, you know, just have your thoughts kind of just take their own course and, like I said, you know, affect your mental health. So of course, the number one thing that kept me going was my reminder, which was my son. I am making sure that I give my son the absolute best. I'm gonna put so much time, energy, and effort into him. That is always my goal. And I want the absolute best for him, and I want to instill all of the knowledge that I have, that I've learned, that I've acquired, and I want to make sure that I give it to him in a way that he can use it to, you know, uplift himself and just ultimately create the education that helps create generational wealth. So I knew that I had to keep going because I have him, and I know that there's a certain life that I want to give him, and I can't let this situation stop me. Which also segues into the thought process of, I knew how I wanted my life to be. I knew that I had dreams, and I definitely do believe that if there is anything that you can dream, you can do it. There is a reason why you have that dream. It's different maybe if it's like one dream, you have it, it's just a thought, but if you have something that keeps gnawing at you, this is the thing, this is how it should be, this is what it would look like, this is what it would feel like, this is what it smell like, taste like. If you have that and it keeps coming to you, it's for you. And that means it's within yourself to figure out how to accomplish that or get to that thing or that feeling or that, you know. And I just knew that my life has a thing. I've already created my life in my head how I want things to go. All I have to do is find the pieces and the people to help me create that. And I know that it's there. So I had to keep going. But another thing that kept me going also is that I know that every motivational, inspirational speaker, people who have just amazing stories of like being at rock bottom and then accelerating and become millionaires, billionaires, and rich and wealthy, those people all had this one pivotal moment or this situation or this period of time that was not the best, that was ground zero, that was dirty and rough and hard. And they made it through that, and on the other side of that situation was the life that they wanted to have. Like with celebrities who, you know, they started off, you know, working at restaurants, being unemployed, and then they blow up after time being put in and creating the vision that they had for themselves. They created that. And I'm like, I know that this is rock bottom for me. I'm not going any lower. And from here, I choose to go higher. Check out my newest books that I have on Amazon. I have my I Am Her journal, and then I have my Love Affirmations coloring book. So this is my second coloring book. So new year, new affirmations, okay? So we've got 24 pages, affirmations, we're coloring, we are manifesting our best love life ever, or love for self. So definitely check these out. The links are going to be down in the description. Okay, check them out. Right, so we've already went over the things that I've endured in 2022. So let's talk about the reflection on how I think. And this is also why I created this channel, to have a perspective shift on things, because I truly do believe everything happens for a reason. Even if it's horrible or bad, it happened for a reason. There's a lesson that's supposed to be learned from that. So let's talk about the lessons that I learned in 2022. I definitely can say that the job ended because I definitely would have got burned out with that job. I'm not gonna lie. I was working 40-ish, like a little bit over, maybe 45 hours a week at a clinic. It was very, like, my days were very scheduled. So wake up early in the morning. I wake up at like 6 o'clock in the morning, get dressed, get ready. I do my face for work, so I have my little makeup on. I be looking cute. Have to get my son to daycare. Then after that, go to work. Then after work, wrap up everything at work. Go to daycare, get him, figure out what's for dinner, cook dinner, bath time, shower time for me, bedtime. Just very like, and I was tired. I didn't have time to do anything else. Of course, I had the weekends off, so it was clinic hours, Monday through Friday, but it was very exhausting. It's hard work being a vascular tech. I respect vascular techs very much, and it's not that I was lazy or I couldn't do the job, you know, whatever. But it is very hard. So I definitely was getting stressed out, and then plus all the driving back and forth, like, it was a lot. But, you know, I kept going, so, you know, they didn't want me. So I take that as, I'm not going to force myself to be somewhere where I'm not wanted. So everything happens for a reason. There's a reason why I got fired, and I just wasn't, I guess I wasn't for them, and that's okay. They weren't for me either. The relationship ended because if you are planning to actually marry a person, right, till death do us part, sickness and health, you know, however you make your vows. But if I'm going through a situation, again, you guys, I've never been fired in my life. If I'm going through a situation where I just lost my job, I'm figuring things out, I'm gonna get unemployment, but it's just delayed because of all the fraud from years before or whatever. I'm having some money coming in. I'm making plans. I created my books that are on Amazon that you can check out. I created my journal books, my kids' workbooks, and I also created my coloring books during that time to be another source of revenue that I could generate. So it's not like I was just like depressed and like, you know, I kept going. I was definitely, plus I was still doing my channel during that time too. But if a person cannot stick with you while you're going through something financially, I think that says a lot about how they would deal with you in a more serious relationship such as a marriage. The biggest thing that I needed was somebody to help me to keep myself grounded so I could motivate myself to keep going, even though these thoughts in my head are just so terrible, so negative. And me trying not to let those thoughts be created fully into my life. I was focused on, what can I do now? What tools do I have now that I can use to make money? And if a person can't stick with you when you're going through something, as far as like a job loss, and this was I was only unemployed for 2 months within that time period, and then he broke up with me. Mind you, the whole other time that we had been together, you know, I've been gainfully employed. You know what I'm saying? So I think it just speaks a lot about how that person would have dealt with me if there was something tough going on. And I'm thankful that, you know, we parted ways, that person decided they did not want to be with me anymore, because that just leaves me to, you know, meet the person who's really for me, who will be there for me when I'm going through a tough time, because, you know, I need support and I need somebody to be there for me. So I deserve that for sure. So the universe was like, he's not the one, period, sis. Next. Thank you. Next. What did Ariana say? Like, come on. My other biggest reflection was how my life was structured. I feel like the way that I had my life structured, I feel like it was, or previously it has been structured on things that are outside of me that I have no control over, and I feel like that is why it was so tough. My life is structured, my ego, like I said, was basically killed, died, stomped on, and burned, because my ego was in my ability to produce, bringing in revenue, having money, taking care of myself, taking care of my son, in my relationship, you know, having a partner, having somebody I can say, this is my boo. I felt like maybe I was putting too much energy and focus on those things and not maybe the things that I need for myself that I enjoy. Like, I'm a very creative person. So me being able to create these books, like, you guys, honestly, I need to make a whole video about this, but like me being able to create these books during my pandemic, during my situation, my 2022, these really helped me just bring to life something new in myself. And then also during that time of me not having my job, I filmed the movie Nasty. So I was in that, playing the character Stacy. So definitely check that out on Tubi. It's on Tubi now. So check it out. Tell me how you feel. The trailer is on here and behind the scenes playlist. I'll link it up below or above, up here. I'll link up here the playlist, and then you can watch the trailer, and then make sure you check out the film, because of course the playlist is going to be giving you guys, you know, spoilers. So spoiler alert, okay? But I would like to say that I am happy because now I have figured out different things that I can do to create, and I learned something in the process, even though it was so painful and it sucked and I cried and I was stressed out and I was like, trying to figure out what am I gonna do, but I made it through. I'm here right now. Duh, I'm here. All right, so the theme for me for this 2023 is all new everything. Like, when I say that, I literally mean every single last thing. Anything that does not resonate with me, anything that feels old, anything that does not serve me, uplift me, or bring me to a higher level, anything that's not teaching me anything or anyone, all new everything is what I am inviting into my space and my abilities for 2023. New ways to make money, new friendships, new relationships. I'm learning new skills. I'm doing more with my books. Stay tuned for that. I love that you guys have been supporting me, buying my books thus far. So thank you so much to those who have bought books from me. And just setting aside space to really create and be more hands-on with enjoyment. My enjoyment doesn't have to come from certain things. I want to think about the things that truly I like to do that I really enjoy. Like, truly, like breaking into that, like what people say, like that inner child, like figuring out like what would you like to do as a kid? What made you happy? Not saying we're not doing our responsibilities, but just finding happiness in doing the things that I really enjoy and doing them more often versus, you know, months and months after being stressed out. Like, how about incorporating those things, you know, more often, so that life is like truly more enjoyable? Because regardless, we have responsibilities, things we have to take care of, but that doesn't mean that life has to be like unfun and so serious and like hard all the time. So 2023, all new everything. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. I hope you learned something. Definitely comment down below if you've gone through any of these things before and like your thoughts and feelings. And just remember, it's all about having the perspective shift on your situation. Of course, things are not easy. Life is definitely hard. But I always invite peace and positivity, you know, when I can. So I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.